Yeah, I'm Burma Star. I operate in Burma, Malaya,
Okay.
that area, not in Europe or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yeah, we just had a big story about Burma this morning.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're trying to get
Is it okay if I
elections.
sit quietly?
Yeah, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, yeah, fine.
Sure.
Well, there's a Burma Star president here, Burma Star, BC.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
I'm Burma Star too.
Okay.
Okay, recording.
Okay. Just say your name. Just so.
Herbert Thomas Aquinas Lim.
Okay.
You might get the whole thing.
There you go. It's good to get it all in.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your service in World War II.
From the beginning?
Well, the Coles Notes version.
Well, the truth is that I was sort of a spy. With Force 136, SOE, actually, I'm Special Air Service as well. When I say a spy means, we did not have uniforms or Canada Flash. I was a volunteer in the Canadian Army to be attached to the British Army for special service in Malaya because I looked Chinese, I spoke Chinese and Japanese.
So what kind of missions would you go on then?
Like it'd be in a team of 5 jumping out of an airplane, like a B-24, 4-engine Liberators,
Yeah.
1 parachute, at nighttime, 600 feet, no secondary, you can't see where you're landing, and no help. You just, and then you avoid conflict. Anyway, you run the other way. We're actually demolition guerrillas. We hit and run. We run the other way. I hate to admit that. Cannot be caught.
Wow.
Actually, this is a little different for most people, veterans, eh?
Yeah. But a necessity.
Yes. Because I was a wireless operator, I was the only one that knew the code out of the 5. I could not be captured. And in the adventure that imminent capture, then I had to swallow an L pill. L pill means lethal pill.
Right.
Actually, cyanide pill. You bite on it, count 5 and die. See, that's what I had to go through. I was indoctrinated, I could not be captured because of that.
Right.
And then before they released me from England to go back to the Canadian Army, I had to sign what they call the War Secrets Act, which silenced me for 25 years. I could not say anything, what I did, otherwise I'd go to jail. So after that, it didn't matter. I didn't bother talking about it anymore. This is the first time I talk about it.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, I didn't mean to be bad. That's the truth.
Yeah. So let me so you basically would jump out of a plane, 600 feet up. You jump out of a plane, and you would basically have a target that you were supposed to hit, and you'd be with a crew and
A 5.
a 5. And so you kind of knew where you were going, but you just had to sort of get the job done and then get out without getting
Like,
caught.
I was a demolition instructor.
Okay.
So I had to learn how to blow up bridges, train tracks, installations, and then run like hell.
What was? Do you remember a particular mission that was just unbelievable that you got out of?
I told you, this is a sort of untold story,
Yeah.
not necessary.
Yeah, I understand. Well, as we get close to Remembrance Day, tell us a little bit about what goes through your mind on Remembrance Day.
What's actually to me a waste of money, life. I was in Rangoon, Burma, and Singapore cemetery, where there were 80,000 names of dead people, soldiers, in the cemeteries. And in Hong Kong, the 2 cemeteries where the Canadians were buried, and in Tokyo, I was with a delegation with the Canadian veterans. We went through all the cemeteries honoring the dead, the military dead.
Right.
That was a waste, to me, that was a waste of life and time and money. It should not be happen again. Like in, I hate to say it, in Afghanistan, really a waste of time and money and life. They're all targets there. Like I was a guerrilla, I know. We run, you cannot find us. We were invisible.
Right.
How are you going to fight anyone that's invisible in a place like Afghanistan? Anyway, that's what I feel.
Yeah. It was supposed to be the war that ended all wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it hasn't. Not yet.
It's a waste of money and time and life.
Talk about some of the friends that you had during your service days. I mean, I imagine that you, in the kind of work you did, you get some pretty close bonds with some people.
Well, now that you mention it, I'd like to mention that, we had Canadians in all the forces, especially in the Air Force. They suffered 60% casualties. But there's 2 Chinese Canadians, Air Force, who were both only ones that I know that won the observation wings. That means 30 missions over Germany and Europe. That was Art Zheng, who's Duck Zheng's brother. He was the chief pilot of the only Chinese pilot that I know who was in charge of a four-engine Lancaster bomber.
Okay.
Another guy by the name of Tommy Chung, he got the O medal too. Only 2 Chinese guys, Air Force.
That's incredible.
I like to mention that's all because they need to be. They're gone now, but hey, these guys should be remembered.
Yeah.
30 missions over Germany, tough. Air Force guys, they suffered 60% casualties. Just think about that,
Yeah. We sometimes forget that there was, a lot of people fighting on the Allied side. There was Chinese, Aboriginal. There was a lot of people besides,
Now, while we're at it, when I was going to university when I volunteered, I was safely. I didn't have to join up, but I was invited by a British colonel to volunteer as a go behind enemy lines. I volunteered. At that time in UBC, we could not take up law, pharmacy, medicine, accountancy. We could not because we were Chinese. We did not have the vote. Your age, you may or may remember that. Maybe you don't even know. But I'll tell you now, as Chinese, I was born in Canada. I could not take law, medicine, accountancy, pharmacy at UBC in those days. That's 1943.
wow.
Yeah. This I want to let you people know.
Yeah.
And we did not have the vote. And the Oriental Exclusion Act wasn't repealed until 1947, where Chinese were allowed into Canada. And that they repealed that enactment in 1923 to 1947, where no Chinese Orientals were allowed into Canada.
Wow.
Yeah,
And yet you chose to fight for Canada.
yeah. It was crazy. I was safely ensconced in university. I didn't have to join up. Safe and sound. I didn't have to. But it's one of those things that I don't regret because it was a challenge. It was the challenge of my life. How to survive, overcome all the difficulties. Like, I'm deathly afraid of height.
And you jumped out of a plane.
Yeah. And I'm also a pilot.
Wow.
I fly planes. I've been a pilot since 1946. I've always wanted to fly, but the Air Force wouldn't take me because I was Chinese. So everything in spite of, not because of.
Yeah. And it made you who you are today.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you say to young kids, young children who don't understand what war is all about, and especially as you approach Remembrance Day, what do you say to them?
Well, one of the things is that, I'm terrified of height. When I jump out of an airplane, I die. And the first 10 seconds while I'm free falling at terminal speed, I'm dying. But when the chute pops open, then I'm reborn. That kind of feeling you would never experience again, only once in a lifetime. That is something that I wouldn't recommend, but I would say, hey, you don't know until you try it, to be reborn.
Yeah. What does it mean to defend a country?
Well, Canada is my country. I was born there. My grandfather was here, my father's here, and this is my country. I try to tell everybody, especially immigrants, because this is their country, regardless of what their cultural, color, this is their country, and they should protect it.
I see you wearing the poppy, talk a little bit about what the poppy signifies for you.
It signifies to me all veterans, what the sacrifices they made, and their remembrance. We have a saying in Burma Star, tell them of us when you go home. We gave out today for your tomorrow. That was the Burma Star epitaph.
Kind of says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Things that happened so long ago. It doesn't seem real, and yet it is real.
You were in so many different places, small places, that you never knew where you were anyway. You're just there until you had a big town later on, and then you would realize just where you were.
I enjoyed every minute of it. If I was young again, I would do it again.
And I know that if it ever became necessary, all these younger people would do exactly the same as we've done ourselves. They'd go away and try to defend their country.
I used to imagine, being a soldier, what it would be like. But to be a soldier in Canada, we were first class.
Oh, so I was scared. I've prayed to God many times. Oh, yeah. And thank God, too.
But we were all young, and we didn't think of war much at the time. And it wasn't really till I had to bail out and became a prisoner of war and in a prison camp that I realized this wasn't funny.
And they were a very sad lot of boys coming back. They had undergone such bad times, and they needed a lot of mental help.
U-boats mostly, and you didn't worry about them. You forgot about them. You didn't think about them at all. You weren't scared, you weren't mad, you were just doing your job.
It's just remembering all the men, like, do you realize there's 6,000 or 7,000 veterans are dying? If you look at the Legion, they've got pages of veterans dying.
Well, Remembrance Day remains to me of the comradeship in the army and the battles that we went through and the bodies that were killed.
It was really an emotional time, and they were so happy to be back on Canadian soil.
Well, Canada is my country. I was born there. My grandfather was here, my father's here, and this is my country. I try to tell everyone, especially immigrants, because this is their country. Regardless of what their cultural color, this is their country, and they should protect it. I was a demolition instructor.
Okay.
So I had to learn how to blow up bridges, train tracks, installations, and then run like hell.
I really remember the most about it's the crew I usually think about. I was a tail gunner at Lancaster, and 3 of them were killed, and 4 of us stayed alive. 3 of us were captured in prisoner of wars.
Three, 4,000 men at any one point, you know. So that's about 15 to 16,000 men, you know, I encountered. I was the only Chinese. That's really tough. That's impossible.
I eventually was meeting the ships that came in with the boys coming back from overseas. And they would, the part I remember the most was them being so happy and throwing coins to all that were staying there to meet them.
Every Remembrance Day, I remember those fellows. It takes me right back. It's quite emotional.
I'm going on 85, and I realize that maybe I've helped a little.
When I'm not in this uniform, I'm nobody. And when I put this on, it's quite emotional.
It's a memorial time, and it's a time I'd like to see the young people remembered. And most of it seems to be pretty good today. It's a long time in between now.
Well, it means to me to remember those brave young men that served our country, and to them we have the freedom we have today.
We finally ended up in a prison camp. It's on a place called, it's on Breslau, Stalag 3. Okay. We were in boxcars. They put us in boxcars, 60 to a boxcar. Everybody there. But we were all in a bad shape then. We're starving. Right. And they used to feed us on a cup of pea soup and a tenth of a loaf of bread a day. And the peas were all little black beetles inside of it. Yeah, so, but we were starving, so we'd eat anything.
Because I was a wireless operator, I was the only one that knew the code out of the 5. I could not be captured. And in the venture that imminent capture, then I had to swallow an L pill. L pill means lethal pill. Right. Actually, cyanide pill. You bite on it, count 5 and die. See, that's what I had to go through. I was indoctrinated that could not be captured because of that.
Well, we were in a pretty fierce battle over after D-Day. We ran into we went after a 15,000-ton Japanese cruiser, which we sunk after about 2 hours of fighting. We could have been killed the next 5 seconds. But you never think about those things. You're too busy. Yeah. But it was quite a battle. Even Churchill referred to it as one of the major destroyer battles of the Second World War.
It was a battle, each and every one of them. I was prepared to do it. If I had to teach each and every one of you guys, that, look, I'm not better than you. I can't prove I'm braver than you. I don't know what's going to happen when we're 20,000 feet and we're getting shot up. We don't know. But it's a world war.